on an article he read in the New York Times that somebody had been, arrested for running a prostitution ring out of the New York City morgue.
The charming Opie Taylor from The Andy Griffith Show is probably the first thing that comes to mind when you think of Ron Howard, but his journey doesn't stop there. Surprisingly, Ron's experiences have shaped him in many ways, from his childhood working on film sets to his achievements as a famous director. Today's goal is to explore the ways in which the role of Opie has influenced his entire life and career, as well as uncover some of the truths Ron has revealed. The ups and downs of one of Hollywood's most beloved stars will be discussed in more detail in the following paragraphs. And leave your thoughts in the comments below if you're a fan of Ron Howard like me, the show that made him a household name. Beginning on October 3rd, 1960 and continuing until April 1st, 1968, the popular American sitcom known as The Andy Griffith Show was shown on CBS. Over the course of its 8 seasons, the show produced a total of 249 episodes that were half an hour in length. Over the course of several decades, this timeless television show has continued to be a fan favorite. The fans' affections were won over by the show's endearing characters, its infectious sense of humor, and the straightforward way of living in a little southern town. One of the episodes of The Danny Thomas Show served as the inspiration for this show. Andy Griffith made his debut in the role of Andy Taylor, the sheriff of a small town in North Carolina known as Mayberry. In that particular episode, Andy Taylor is the widowed sheriff of Mayberry, a fictional community with a population of approximately 2,000 to 5,000 people. Andy Griffith plays the role of Andy Taylor through the television show. Not only does he serve as the sheriff of the town, but he also acts as a father figure to his little son, Opie, who is portrayed by a younger version of Ron Howard. He is a level-headed, smart, and kind individual. Having a cast of characters that are easy to remember is one of the reasons why the program has remained so successful over the years. Don Knotts' portrayal of Andy's best friend and deputy, Barney Fife, was a highlight of the show. Because of his enthusiastic temperament, he was a well-meaning but inept police who frequently found himself in circumstances that presented him with funny challenges. In addition to Knotts' performance, which earned him 5 Emmy Awards, the show is filled with a great deal of humor thanks to Barney's behaviors and his excessive sense of responsibility. Aunt Bee, who is portrayed by Frances Bavier, is another important figure in the story. In addition to being Andy's aunt, she also works as a housekeeper, creating a welcoming and loving environment within the Taylor household. Aunt Bea is an essential component of the dynamic within the family because of her characteristic caring demeanor, her gentle instruction, and the traditional Southern meals that she prepares. Andy Taylor's little son, Opie Taylor, is a youngster who is both inquisitive and naive. He is able to acquire important life lessons from his father as well as from the other people that live in Mayberry. Opie is portrayed in a way that is appealing by Ron Howard, and many viewers have good recollections of seeing Opie grow up throughout the course of the series. Despite the fact that it was set in the 1960s, The Andy Griffith Show had a kind of sentimental quality that brought back memories of a more straightforward era. Andy Griffith himself once stated that the show, despite taking place in the present day, managed to conjure up the atmosphere of the 1930s during its run. One of the reasons why the program struck a chord with such a large number of people was because it evoked feelings of nostalgia. It provided a means of escape into a world in which issues were resolved through the cheerful conversation that took place on the front porch. During the entirety of its original run, The Andy Griffith Show was a huge hit, and it never fell below 7th place in the Nielsen ratings. It was a remarkable accomplishment that it finished its final season as the most popular show on television. Although it has been on the air for several decades, The Andy Griffith Show continues to enjoy widespread popularity. It is common practice for television networks such as TV Land, MeTV, the CW, and Sundance TV to broadcast reruns of show episodes. Despite the fact that certain broadcasts are shortened in order to make way for additional ads, fans may still watch the complete episodes without any cuts on channels such as Sundance TV. Furthermore, the entire series is obtainable on DVD and Blu-ray, and it can also be watched on several platforms such as Amazon Prime and Paramount+. Fans of the program get together in Mount Airy, North Carolina, Andy Griffith's hometown, to celebrate Mayberry Days. an annual celebration that honors the cherished series. Mayberry Days is held every year. Fans will get the opportunity to revisit the magic of Mayberry and celebrate the enduring appeal of the Andy Griffith Show at this event. The family behind the scenes and some controversial behavior. The cast and crew put in a lot of effort behind the scenes, but not everything was as perfect as it appeared to be in front of the camera. This iconic television program, which aired from 1960 to 1968, depicted the life of a simple, small-town resident in the fictional town of Mayberry, which is located in North Carolina. The show emerged as a cherished relic of the history of television in the United States. The actual lives of its stars, on the other hand, were filled with instability, secrets, and scandals. Andy Griffith, who played the role of the kind sheriff, had a darker side that stood in stark contrast to the demeanor he presented on screen. The outbursts that Griffith, who was famed for his unpredictable temper, was known for were notorious. During his memoir, which was published in 1995, George Lindsay, who had played the silly mechanic Gooberpile, said that the majority of the cast people were terrified of Andy. Lindsay claims that Andy would phone members of the cast on Monday nights if he was pleased with their performance. Because they were aware that they may be subjected to his fury if they did not receive the call, they would dread going back to work on Tuesday. It was common knowledge that Griffith's rapid temper had an impact on his relationships both on and off the set. Both his professional and personal life were fraught with conflict. He believed that he was looked down upon due to the fact that he hailed from the wrong side of the tracks in Mount Airy, North Carolina. He struggled with his upbringing. This resentment was carried over into his professional life, particularly in the connection he had with Don Knotts. The fact that Knotts was awarded multiple Emmys for his performance as Barney Fife is said to have contributed to Griffith's feelings of envy. Both Griffith's anger issues and this envy contributed to the burden that was placed on their connection. Knotts himself had a difficult childhood, beginning with his upbringing in West Virginia, where he was raised by an alcoholic father who was reputedly abusive. This challenging childhood had a significant impact on Knotts' personality. The tension that existed between him and Griffith may have been exacerbated as a result of this. Despite the difficulties they were experiencing, the two guys had a close connection with one another. They even participated in activities that took place behind the scenes, which were very different from the sincere picture that they presented on the show. The womanizing behavior of both Griffith and Knotts was well known in the film industry. With their mistresses, they went on double dates with their first wives, and they cheated on their first marriages. This produced a contentious contrast to the show that they starred in, which was intended for households with children. An example of this would be the intimate relationship that Griffith had with his co-star, Annetta Corsat, which was an issue that was widely discussed among the cast and crew. The other members of the cast and crew were aware of Griffith's obsession with her, and their relationship was filled with passion. Once, a member of the crew disguised themselves as a waiter and took meals to Griffith's hotel room. However, when they arrived, they discovered that Griffith was in a sexually suggestive posture with Corsat. In spite of the fact that he was married at the time, Griffith was really upset about the prank, but it just served to underline how deeply attached he was with her emotionally. It was common knowledge inside the industry that Knotts' personal life was fraught with difficulties when he was younger. Despite the fact that he was married to Catherine Metz, he had a deep affection for Lynn Paul, who worked as an assistant to Griffith management. Their marriage ended in divorce in 1964 as a direct result of Knotts' decision to finally admit his affair to his wife. Additionally, throughout the time that he was married to his first wife, Barbara, Griffith engaged in many relationships. Among these was an interview with the actress Joanna Moore, who served as a guest star on multiple episodes of the show. It has been stated that Frances Bavia, who played Aunt Bea, had a difficult working relationship with Griffith. The relationship between Bavia and Griffith was strained behind the scenes, despite the fact that she portrayed a role that was affectionate and maternal on film. According to reports, Bavia, who originates from an affluent family in New York, found Griffith's sense of humor and pranks to be quite annoying. There was a significant amount of tension in their relationship over the most of the length of the show. Nevertheless, Bavia called Griffith in her latter years to apologize for being unpleasant throughout the filming process. Her apology was accepted by Griffith, and it appears that they were able to reconcile their differences before she passed away in 1989. Even though there was a lot of stress and turmoil going on behind the scenes, there were times when the ensemble showed genuine camaraderie with one another. In order to maintain a light and enjoyable mood, they frequently played practical jokes on one another. In one incident, the cast took Griffith's shoes and forced him to wear his Sheriff Taylor boots when he returned home from the studio. The ensemble members were able to draw closer together through the use of these practical jokes, despite the fact that their relationships were occasionally tense. The cast of The Andy Griffith Show endured its fair share of personal challenges and scandals that occurred off-screen, but the legacy that they left behind with their work on the show will endure forever. Even after all these years, audiences continue to be moved by Mayberry's comedy, warmth, and straightforward wisdom. Moreover, Ron Howard's portrayal of Opie was one of the most significant aspects of that. He brought the character to life. Ron's beginnings: actor, director, and producer. Ron Howard was born on March 1, 1954, in Duncan, Oklahoma. He is noted for his work in all three of these fields. He is known by his full name, Ronald William Howard, and he was raised in a family that had strong ties to the entertainment world. Jan Spiegel Howard, his mother, was an actress, and Rance Howard, his father, was a director, writer, and actor. He follows in his father's footsteps. It is interesting to note that Ron's father does not always go by the name Rance Howard. His surname, Beckenholt, was given to him upon its birth. Rance made the decision to alter his surname to Howard in 1948, the same year that he began his career as an actor. This was a choice that would, in the long run, become an important component of Ron's identity as well. By the time Ron was born, his father had already spent 3 years serving his nation in the United States Air Force. He had been in the military for a total of 3 years. Although this being the case, the Howard family continued to preserve their close connections to the world of performing and storytelling nonetheless. In this way, Ron's future in the industry was established as a solid basis. Even in his younger years, Ron Howard's life was anything but typical. Being introduced to the world of entertainment at a very young age was a result of the fact that he was raised by parents who were actively involved in the entertainment industry in Hollywood. Ron started working on television sets when he was still a child. Some of his first jobs were at the renowned Desilu Studios, where he received instruction. It was in this studio that Ron got his first taste of what it was like to work in the entertainment industry. This studio was instrumental in the creation of a number of shows that have gone on to become classic. Ron did not abandon his schooling despite the fact that he was working as a kid actor. After finishing his elementary training at Robert Louis Stevenson Elementary, he transferred to David Starr Jordan Junior High School in Burbank, California, before continuing his education there. Even though juggling studies and acting was a difficult task, Ron was able to execute it successfully. When he graduated from John Burroughs High School in Burbank, it was clear that his hard work and dedication to his studies had paid off. He continued his schooling beyond that point, however. After completing his high school education, Ron went on to enhance his studies by enrolling in the School of Cinematic Arts at the University of Southern California. One of the most prestigious film schools in the country is this particular institution. Nevertheless, Ron did not finish his degree, despite the fact that he had a strong interest in both study and the arts. Despite the fact that he left before completing his education, he went on to achieve a great deal of success in the Hollywood film industry. Stepping into acting, Ron Howard had known from a very young age that he intended to pursue a career that went beyond acting. Although he spent a significant amount of time in front of the camera, the concept of being in the position of being behind the camera was something that truly piqued his interest. His interest in directing was aroused when he observed professionals in the field working on television sets. The early exposure that Ron received to the many aspects of filmmaking provided him with a distinctive perspective that would later play a significant role in shaping his career as a director. When Ron was just a young child, he began his path into the world of entertainment. It was only after he was 18 months old that he made his debut in a television commercial or advertisement. When he was only 4 years old, he had already made his debut in the film The Journey, which was released in 1959. During the same year, he had guest appearances on a number of television shows, like The Twilight Zone and The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis, among others. On the other hand, it was his performance as Opie Taylor on The Andy Griffith Show that brought him to the attention of the general public. When Ron was a small boy, he captivated audiences with his depiction of Opie, a character that was lovely, innocent, and interested. Not only did this role showcase Ron's innate acting talent, but it also gave him the opportunity to gain knowledge from the more seasoned actors and directors he collaborated with inside the production. Throughout the course of his acting career, Ron played a variety of roles that provided him with the opportunity to demonstrate his talent. In the film adaptation of The Music Man, which was released in 1962, he portrayed the role of Winthrop Peru, a child who had a lisp. This movie was a huge hit, and it ended up being one of the highest-grossing movies of the year that was released. Additionally, Ron appeared as a guest star on a number of well-known television shows, including The Big Valley, I Spy, and MASH, in addition to starring in the 1963 film The Courtship of Eddie's Father. Over the course of the 1970s, Ron had an appearance on an album released by Disneyland Records titled The Story and Song from the Haunted Mansion. The CD depicts the story of two teens named Mike and Karen, both of whom become trapped inside the haunted mansion. Mike is portrayed by Ron Howard, and Karen is voiced by Karen. As an additional illustration of how Ron's early work provided him with a wide range of skills in the entertainment industry, this project was performed. In the year 1974, Ron was cast in the part of Richie Cunningham in the sitcom Happy Days, which went on to become an enormously popular show. In contrast to the character of Arthur Fonzie Fonzarelli, played by Henry Winkler, who was a greaser with a rebellious bent, his role was a boy who was clean-cut and liked by everyone. The success of the sitcom can be attributed, in part, to the excellent chemistry that existed between Ron and Henry Winkler, both on and off screen. Up until 1980, Ron remained with Happy Days. At that time, he made the decision to concentrate on pursuing his ambition of becoming a film director. However, he made a comeback for guest appearances in succeeding seasons of the show, much to the joy of the show's enthusiastic audience. In 1973, Ron portrayed the role of Steve Berlander in the coming-of-age film American Graffiti, which was directed by George Lucas. This was one of the most memorable film roles that Ron has ever played. It was hailed for its ability to capture the atmosphere of the time period that it depicts, which contributed to the film's success both critically and commercially. In the film American Graffiti, Ron gave a performance that was favorably received, and the film went on to serve as an inspiration for the sitcom Happy Days. Ron had a starring role in the film The Shootist, which was released in 1976, alongside Hollywood luminaries John Wayne and Lauren Bacall. The fact that this was John Wayne's last picture makes it a historically significant event in the history of cinema. It was via these positions that he was able to get experience in a variety of genres and forms. He became even more interested in the world of movies and television as a result of this incident. Ron has said that the set was like a second home to him when he was a kid actor, and he has recalled his experiences in that capacity. As he saw the cast and crew collaborate, he picked up a lot of useful information. His understanding of the filmmaking process was shaped into what it is today because to these experiences. Stepping behind the camera. Ron's directorial debut came in 1977 with the low-budget comedy and action film Grand Theft Auto. It was a project he co-wrote with his father, Rance Howard. This opportunity arose from a deal with the famous producer Roger Corman. In this agreement, he agreed to star in the movie Eat My Dust, in exchange for a chance to direct his first film. This arrangement marked the beginning of Howard's shift from in front of the camera to behind it. After his directorial debut, Howard went on to several television movies for NBC between 1978 and 1982. One notable project from this period was the 1980 TV movie Skyward. This film starred the legendary actress Bette Davis. These experiences helped Howard sharpen his directing skills and prepared him for the big break that was just around the corner. In 1982, Howard directed the film Night Shift. Night Shift was a significant success and proved that Howard was more than just an actor. He was a talented director with a bright future ahead of him. Howard's success continued with the 1984 romantic comedy Splash. The movie was both a critical and commercial hit, solidifying Howard's place in Hollywood as a successful director. Following Splash, Howard directed the science fiction comedy drama Cocoon in 1985. the film was another critical and financial triumph. Don Ameche even won an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for his role in the film. In 1988, Howard reunited with George Lucas for the high fantasy adventure film Willow, starring Val Kilmer and Warwick Davis. The film showcased Howard's ability to handle big-budget special effects-driven projects. He closed out the 1980s with the family comedy film Parenthood in 1989. Parenthood was a major hit too. It earned over $100 million domestically and received 2 Academy Award nominations. The 1990s saw Howard continuing to build his directing career with a string of successful films. But it was Howard's direction that the 1995 docudrama Apollo 13 marked a significant milestone in his career. The film, which starred Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, and Bill Paxton as astronauts, was a massive success. It earned $335 million at the box office and received 9 Academy Award nominations. Critics praised Howard's ability to tell a compelling true story with technical precision and emotional depth. In 2001, Howard directed the biographical drama A Beautiful Mind in 2001, which told the story of mathematician John Nash. The film, starring Russell Crowe, was a critical and commercial hit. It won 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director for Howard. Howard continued his successful run with films like Cinderella Man 2005, The Da Vinci Code 2006, starring Tom Hanks. In 2008, Howard directed Frost Nixon, a film based on the interviews between British talk show host David Frost and former US President Richard Nixon. The movie was a critical success, earning 5 Academy Award nominations, including Best Director for Howard. In recent years, Howard has continued to direct films across various genres. In 2013, he directed Rush, a sports drama about the rivalry between Formula One drivers James Hunt and Niki Lauda. The film received positive reviews and showcased Howard's versatility as a director. He also directed In the Heart of the Sea, 2015, a survival drama based on the sinking of the whaling ship Essex, though it was not as successful at the box office. In 2018, Howard took over the directing duties for Solo: A Star Wars Story after the original directors were let go. Despite the challenges, Howard successfully completed the film, which was well received by fans of the franchise. Howard continues to be a prominent figure in Hollywood. Not only as a director, he is also a producer through his company Imagine Entertainment, which he co-chairs with Brian Grazer. Imagine has produced numerous successful films and television shows, further solidifying Howard's legacy in the entertainment industry. Personal life and family. Ron Howard married Cheryl Alley on June 7, 1975, and their relationship has remained strong for nearly 5 decades. Cheryl and Ron first met when they were juniors at John Burroughs High School in California. From that moment, Ron knew Cheryl was the one for him. "I met her, and there was never anybody else," he fondly recalls. The couple's enduring relationship has sparked curiosity among many who wonder about the secret to their happy marriage. When asked about it, Ron, now 70 years old, humbly admits there isn't any grand secret. Instead, he offers simple, heartfelt advice that has worked well for him and Cheryl throughout the years. Ron and Cheryl's relationship is a testament to the power of communication. Ron emphasizes the importance of keeping an open line of communication, which he believes is crucial for any marriage to thrive. According to Ron, being able to have difficult conversations in constructive ways is key. It's not always easy, but it's essential for understanding each other and working through challenges together. In addition to communication, Ron acknowledges that luck plays a role in a long-lasting marriage. He believes that sometimes people either grow together or they don't, and that's not something you can force. This perspective shows how much Ron values the natural connection he and Cheryl have maintained over the years. Support is another cornerstone of Ron and Cheryl's relationship. As he transitioned from acting to pursuing his dream of becoming an Oscar-winning director, Cheryl stood by his side through it all. Ron credits Cheryl's unwavering support as a significant factor in their successful marriage. Ron acknowledges how much her encouragement has meant to him over the years. Compatibility is another key ingredient in Howard's happy marriage. Ron and Cheryl's ability to work well together, enjoy each other's company, and share similar morals and values has helped their relationship endure. This mutual understanding and respect have allowed them to navigate life's ups and downs as a team. In their more than 40 years of marriage, Ron and Cheryl have raised 4 children: Bryce Dallas, twins Jocelyn Carlisle and Paige Carlisle, and their son Reed Cross. Their family has grown even more with the addition of 5 grandchildren. The Howard children have undoubtedly benefited from witnessing their parents' strong, loving relationship. It's the strength of my mum's conviction and personality that has given my dad the courage to be who he is in the world, sticking to a good story well told. They will likely carry those lessons into their own lives and relationships. Patience is another virtue that Ron values in his marriage. He attributes much of their success to Cheryl's patience, describing it as a real blessing. This patience has likely helped them navigate the challenges that come with any long-term relationship, allowing them to grow stronger together over time. New revelations. In the opening credits of The Andy Griffith Show, a young Opie Taylor picks up a stone and tosses it into the peaceful waters of Myers Lake. In reality, the famous scene was filmed at California's Franklin Canyon Lake. Little Ronnie Howard, who played Opie, was only 6 years old at the time. He recalls that his skinny arms weren't strong enough to throw the rock far enough to reach the water. "My skinny little arm was not powerful enough to get that rock into the water," Ron admits in his book The Boys, a memoir of Hollywood and family. For the next take, Ron pretended to throw the stone, while a prop master, hidden behind a tree, tossed it into the lake for him. Ron Howard, now 70, looks back on his childhood spent on the set of The Andy Griffith Show with a mix of fondness and realism. Growing up on a television set taught him about the world of make-believe, but it also exposed him to some harsh adult realities. Along with his brother Clint Howard, who is also an actor, Ron co-wrote The Boys. In this, they credit their parents for keeping them grounded during their Hollywood upbringing. Their parents' protectiveness was rooted in love and fear, not any stage parent concept of protecting their cash cows, Ron writes. As a child actor, Ron was often surrounded by adults who didn't always consider his young age. The crew at Desilu Studios, where the show was filmed, were salty old characters who swore like sailors and drank like fishes, Ron recalls. The prop master was often drunk by lunchtime, and everyone smoked constantly on set, with little regard for anyone else's health. "My eyes were always burning," Ron remembers. Ron's education didn't stop at witnessing the adult behavior around him. The bathroom on set was another eye-opener for the innocent young boy. He remembers being puzzled by the explicit graffiti that covered its walls. When he asked his father, Rance, about it, his dad explained, "Some men, when they sit on the toilet, they like to draw penises." He advised Ron not to do the same. Despite the rough environment, the crew treated Ron with empathy and kindness. But not everyone received the same respect. Jim Nabors, the actor who played Gomer Pyle, was openly gay at a time when it was far from accepted. His sexuality was a don't ask, don't tell secret on set. But Ron recalls hearing crew members call him derogatory names behind his back. And not with any hint of kindness, Ron notes. Ron also observed the personal struggles of the show's adult stars. Andy Griffith, who played his father, Sheriff Taylor, was a wonderful and big-hearted man. But he and his co-star Don Knotts were both dealing with failing marriages. The two friends who had known each other since meeting on Broadway in 1955 often confided in each other about their troubles. Ron remembers hearing Andy talk about his doctor bringing up the topic of latent homosexuality during a therapy session. "I don't think I qualify for that one. What about you, Don?" Andy asked in Ron's recollection. Andy also struggled with long work hours, which his doctor suggested might be a way to avoid going home to his wife. "I saw him endure genuine pain," Ron says. He recalls Andy returning from a Christmas break with a bandaged hand, explaining to the cast, "I got drunk, I got mad, and I put my fist through a door." While Ron was dealing with the complexities of life on set, he also faced challenges at school. Being a famous child actor made him a target for bullies. They all figured out that Opie rhymes with dopey, mopey, and soapy, Ron recalls. For a time, he was so scared of the other kids that he avoided going to the bathroom. This eventually led to an embarrassing incident where he wet his pants in front of his classmates. Despite the difficulties, Ron's parents encouraged him to stick it out for the school year. "It was a rough path," Ron admits. but he eventually made friends and even got into a few fights to defend himself. Before long, I had my own posse of buddies, he says. Growing up on the Andy Griffith Show meant that Ron matured faster than most kids his age, but he doesn't regret his experience. He also witnessed acts of kindness that left a lasting impression on him. One such moment was when Howard McNear, the actor who played Floyd the Barber, suffered a severe stroke during the third season. Andy, ever magnanimous, didn't want to lose Howard, Ron recalls. The crew devised clever ways to support McNear during scenes so he could keep his job. These experiences taught Ron valuable lessons about the magic of Hollywood and the importance of empathy. "I will forever owe a debt to Opie Taylor," he reflects. "The experience of inhabiting that character, walking a mile in his kids, defined my early life." Ron went on to become one of the biggest child actors of his time, but when it came to his own children, he was cautious about letting them follow in his footsteps. His eldest daughter, Bryce Dallas Howard, now a successful actor and director, recalls how her parents were firm about not letting her jump into acting as a child. "My parents were very firm on that boundary that they were not going to support anyone who wanted to be a child actor," she told People in February 2024. Ron explains that he wanted to protect Bryce from the pressures of Hollywood, especially since his iconic roles as a child would have invited unfair comparisons. "On top of everything else, because the characters that I played as a child were so well known as to almost be iconic. I also thought, hey, if one of our kids tries to act as a child, boy or girl, they're going to be unfairly compared," he said. Though Ron has strong opinions about child acting, he doesn't have any regrets about his own experience on the Andy Griffith Show. "Other kids may resent acting, but mostly I really enjoyed it," he says. "I felt very comfortable. I understood it. It was an environment where I knew I was excelling." Ron Howard's journey from a child star to an acclaimed director is a testament to the lessons he learned, both good and bad, on the set of The Andy Griffith Show. His story is one of resilience, growth, and a deep appreciation for the experiences that shaped him into the person he is today. Thanks for watching. Ron Howard's life and career have been full of incredible moments, but also some tough challenges. From his days as Opie Taylor to becoming a top director, it's clear that his early experiences shaped who he is today. If you found these insights interesting, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more stories about your favorite stars. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Let us know in the comments what you think about Ron's journey and if there's anything else you'd like to learn about. See you next time.